type of stuff's gonna be like a drug. Like you're gonna sit there, you're gonna be like, man, this is awesome, this is a lot of fun. And all of a sudden, you want to get back into it. Like, man, I can't wait for next week. Get your last little stretch in. Breathing all loud, smacking all loud.
You already know who this is, man. Like you said, Joshua Higgins.
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to 285 Live, Episode 5. We are joined here with my special guest, my friend, my mentor from Germany, Mr. Joshua Burkheiser.
Thanks for having me on.
Oh yeah, no problem. And you know, we like to get intimate with our guests, so and we want the people out there to know who you are, since we have both our audiences out here watching us.
Yeah.
Will you give the people a little intro of who you are as a person, and how you kind of, you know, see the differences between Dayton and Atlanta, since we kind of showed you around a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, I think I'm not one who likes to center on differences.
Right.
But I'll mention a few differences.
I mean, it could be
there
similarities,
differences.
contrast,
Yeah,
and compare, you know.
So I'm Joshua Burkheiser.
Yeah.
I wrote Hi, My Name's Charlie. It's a fiction novel about a serial killer named Charlie, who is falsely accused of a crime that he did not commit.
Right.
So he is trying to track down that serial killer, and it has a lot of twists and turns. I think it's a fairly decent storyline. I enjoy it.
Okay.
I've read it several times since I wrote it.
Yeah. I know some of my people out there, they're into the true crime. They watch a lot of stuff on Netflix, stuff on Hulu.
Yeah.
It's actually, from what I've seen, has been a prime topic for millennials to see, you know, serial killers.
Yeah, especially women.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's nothing scarier than sleeping next to a female who fell asleep watching
Yeah.
serial
Yeah.
killer stuff. Especially with them making whole shows about how to get away with murder.
Man, yeah. That's a good show.
But yeah, so after I published that, I decided to open up all my social medias, and through some experimentation, I realized that there's a big draw for true crime.
Yeah.
So I have a degree in psychology, and I have some background with law enforcement, just a little bit. I won't go into that. But
Okay.
I got that when I was in the military for the first couple of years.
Right.
So yeah, I just do true crime stuff and a lot of author things, and a lot of videos. I am from Dayton, Ohio, for now.
Why for now?
Well, I'm originally from the desert in Arizona.
Right.
So I don't tolerate the cold as well as.
Yeah, I don't like
as
cold
other
either.
people.
And I know in that area it gets real cold, especially by the Ohio River, the Great Lakes, you know,
Yeah.
all that, Chicago.
You really hit on both sides
Yeah,
of Dayton there.
yeah, Chicago, Indiana, all that is just freezing cold, the worst cold you'll feel in your lifetime. And I've been to Germany and I've been to Korea. I haven't been to Alaska, but for me, being in Chicago or Detroit or, you know, Grand Rapids, Michigan, it's freezing and I hate it. So it made me even hate snow. So that's how I feel. That's why I live here in Atlanta.
No, I totally understand that. Yeah. So while I love Ohio, I love Dayton. I love its history.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know about Dayton, it's the home of the Wright brothers,
Yep.
the home of two very famous serial killers, which isn't for this podcast, but it's also where Shawshank Redemption was shot at the
really?
prison there.
Really?
There's a lot of things in that area that are really incredible historically. We have a Packard, the car museum. It's a really incredible place.
So, you know, just speaking candidly, you know, things don't always get to where you want them to be when you're doing shows like this and stuff. But we are going to have a good conversation. My co-host, SirGarrett, will be in the building a little bit later. So we're just going to keep going with the flow. Again, Joshua Burkheiser, he's a mentor of mine from Germany. I remember the first time I met him, he was actually my, if you know anything about the Army, it's called an NCO, basically your leader. And he was the person who picked me up. And I remember...
Oh, yeah, I was.
Yeah, I remember hearing his name for the first time, Burkheiser. And I was in Germany, so I'm thinking like, oh my God, they're sending a German guy to come pick me up. And I'm already like kind of shaky. I don't know too much of German. I know it from middle school. I know a little bit of like, how to say thank you and hello.
Dankeschön.
Yeah. But, they're sending Sergeant Burkheiser here. And that was just so intimidating to me. I'm like, okay, this guy's going to be like some, hard A guy, like, all about the Army, make me do 7 miles. But, you can't judge a book by its cover. So this episode is titled The Me You Don't See. So when I did end up meeting Joshua, he's a really cool guy, down to earth. He invited me over to his house. There's one special quirk that I want to talk to the people about.
I get so much flack for this.
It's not a bad thing, okay? It's just a difference, We all are different. He's from a different way of life than we are. So when you hear iced tea down here in Georgia, you definitely think about sweet tea. The sweetest tea that you can think of, like McDonald's tea. If you remember the dollar sweet teas from McDonald's, you get them and you're like, this is diabetes in a cup. That's how we used to drink our sweet tea. I don't really drink that like that anymore. I've gotten older. I can't handle that much sugar anymore. It's not that great for you. But that's how we drink sweet tea down here in the South. I went to Mr. Burkheiser's house. He offered 2 choices. He said, do you want tea or do you want Coke? He was like, iced tea or Coke. So back then, I used to drink sweet tea, like Kool-Aid, or I used to drink it like water. I asked for the tea. I got the tea. He brought the tea to me in a nice, large glass. So I'm like, oh man, this guy's so hospitable. That's awesome. I take a sip, and I just stare blankly like, this is not what I was expecting. This is unsweet tea. But I'm gonna drink it anyway. I persevered and I drank the sweet tea. And I'm sorry. I can't even like process it in my brain. It's just so much. I'm like, the unsweet tea. I drank the unsweet tea, and I carried on from there. I don't know how I looked from his aspect and his wife at the time's aspect, but I was in my mind. I was just like, this is not what I was thinking it was gonna be. But they brought me a Coke, and we settled things. So that was good.
I'm pretty much the only one who drinks it too.
Yeah?
Like even in Ohio.
Yeah? Okay, so it's not just a...
No, it used to be up north, pretty much from Tennessee up.
Yeah.
Everybody drank on sweet tea. And then over the past 20 years, it's kind of switched. Everybody's on the sugar path, and I'm the only one still left drinking unsweet tea.
Yeah, because I know some of my family, again, they're from like Michigan, Illinois. They drink unsweet tea, but they always have their sugar with them, so they they balance out their teas. Down here it's just like it's already made for you, but you can add more if you want to, which some people do. I'm just like,
well, we were at IHOP yesterday.
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to remember how she described the tea.
I'm telling you,
What did she say?
this lady, she had to be one of the best waitresses I've ever.
Oh yeah.
Like her
Yeah,
personality
she was
was
great.
just amazing. So she came up to my wife. She was like,
Another don't judge a book by the cover.
Yeah.
Because she was not a smiling
no,
person when we walked in.
but she was very personable, very like just hands-on. She was giving you everything that you needed. She brought me a cookies and cream milkshake in a huge, large teacup. So yeah, she was just like, I'm gonna hook you up. So, but she came to my wife. She was like, we have sweet tea here, with the Thug Life. And my wife,
You want Thug Life, half Thug Life?
Yeah. So my wife was like, yeah, I want it with Thug Life. And I was like, yeah, you get your sweet tea, because we don't.
That stuff came out like syrup.
Oh my God, it was so sweet. I couldn't even stand drinking it. But she went over to Joshua and she was like, what do you want? And he's like, I'll take it, but without the Thug Life. She was like, it took her a moment. She was just like looking at him like, oh, okay, I got you. She was quick on it. It took her a moment, but she was quick on it. And she brought him his unsweet tea. And
Yeah, I got the Mac Lethal of tea.
yeah, but she was a great hostess. She would make references to like Halle Berry. Like, she's like, how do you want your pancakes? Do you want it thin,
light and fluffy,
light and fluffy like Halle Berry,
or thick like
and
Beyonce.
yeah, and Josh immediately when he heard Beyonce, he's like, Beyonce. So yeah, that's just some stuff that we've been doing. I really wish SirGarrett was here to get us to go to the next segment because I really want him to hear what you're about. But we have plenty of stories between ourselves.
Yeah, and honestly, I haven't still discussed the similarities and the differences.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So similarly between the two cities,
Right.
we are very personable. I one thing that stood out to me here in Atlanta because many people from Ohio don't actually stop in Atlanta. They'll drive through to the
That's
next
crazy
state.
because that's how I treat Ohio. Like anytime I'm going, I used to joke with my friends. I'm like, I call Ohio my piss state because that's all we do.
It's your stop and go.
Stop and go.
Right, yeah.
Right past Ohio, going somewhere else.
No, we have some great cities there, just like Georgia does. Now, I've only stopped in two cities, and that's Atlanta and I think Macon, right?
Yeah.
We're the two. Dayton is sandwiched between two cities.
Yeah.
I would hesitate to call one great.
They're both pretty something.
No, Cincinnati though.
Oh,
Cincinnati
yeah,
is
okay.
a phenomenal.
From that
place.
area.
You were thinking Columbus.
Yeah.
You were thinking Columbus. Yeah, Columbus used to be just a phenomenal place to go to. It was just a larger version of Cincinnati.
Yeah.
But over the years, COVID's really affected everybody.
Right.
Tourism's dropped off quite a bit. So there's not a lot of finances going into Columbus anymore. A lot of jobs have moved out of the city.
Right.
So people are starting to move more towards the less suburban areas, more to the country areas.
Right.
Dayton is one of those unique places. It's kind of like like America's a melting pot. Dayton is too.
Okay.
Just like Atlanta.
Yeah.
And it's something that really stuck out to me. There's a lot of similarities here. Not so much size-wise, because you guys' city envelops our entire Dayton area.
Right.
Dayton's the largest. Actually, Cleveland might be now, but Dayton was the largest area for quite a while because we section in areas just like you guys.
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
We're like, okay, now, yes, you're your own city,
Yeah.
but you're also Dayton,
Right.
So we did the same thing.
Okay.
We have all the same restaurants, although I noticed you guys have Piggly Wigglies.
Yeah. It's
And I
sporadic.
also, where's the one we went to yesterday?
We went to Publix.
Publix.
Yeah.
I've heard so much about that, so it was
Everybody is
pretty-
like blown away as soon as we go to Publix. It
Yeah,
doesn't
Publix
really
is
even
nice.
matter the area that you're in. It's like you can be in the worst area of Atlanta, and then you go to a Publix, and you're just like, what is this store? Like,
Yeah.
You get fresh fruit, fresh meat, fresh all of that stuff. Again,
And you guys, okay, so difference-wise, I've noticed Atlanta has a very different cost difference between houses.
Right.
So this home here in Dayton would be, and by the way, this is a beautiful home. I know people can only see the inside, but the outside it's a beautiful home.
it's more than the tree. It's more than the tree.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get into specifics, but we are sitting in a fairly small section of this house.
Paid for by yours truly, the military. So
Yeah, so this home in Dayton would cost at least $500,000.
Woo.
Yeah, so I mean the difference in
Yeah, I paid about half of that. So
yeah, so I mean there are some major differences. Things are somewhat cheaper down here, or of better value.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. So there's no way in Dayton that I could ever purchase this house. So this is it's very nice to go into, and also you guys' hospitality levels are like drastically different. If you came to my place, just because I am a hospitable person, doesn't mean that I have the hospitality like you guys.
Okay.
Do. It's,
yeah, we try to be a little hospitable, just to honor that Southern hospitality. That's a real thing down here. It's some people are getting away from it. Some people are not personable at all. But majority of the people in Atlanta, they'll bring you in and make you feel like family. It doesn't matter who you are, what skin color, We try not to get too much into that. We try to get to the...
Which is unique in itself, because the rest of the country, not like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I travel all over. I'm telling you right now, it is not like that.
Yeah, but beautiful people, 285 Live again, and Joshua Burkheiser's people. Here is SirGarrett. Our MC
Yes.
You know, he's ringing it right now. He's getting his research done right now.
Yes.
We got noises going off all over the place right now for SirGarrett. So SirGarrett, since this is our first time live.
Absolutely.
Everybody's been asking for your face. Not mine. They've been asking for your face. They've been asking for Rico. Where you at, Rico? And they've been asking for Jeffrey Higgins. Y'all gonna get Jeffrey Higgins a little later on in the year. But SirGarrett.
Yes,
Say what's up to the people.
What's up, good people? Brodies, Brodettes, all of Josh's wonderful followers. It is a pleasure to finally be seen, be heard. You know, I'm very happy, you know, that we're able to get with other content creators, other influencers, those who have a creative mindset, just like Josh himself.
Very creative guy.
I was just so interested because, you know, Maddogg over here was talking about you the whole time. Like, ever since we started, he's like, I gotta give him more Josh. So I'm like, all right, cool, what does he do? He's like, yeah, you know, he great, you know, creates his own murder mystery stuff. I'm like, cool, because in my mind, I'm like, what? Like, I have the question, of course, of what influenced you to get into that. I know that.
Don't jump the gun.
But yeah, and so I was like, all right, cool. You know, I was always interested to you know, I was looking at your stuff, I was doing my research and things of that nature, man. So I'm very, very interested to see what you have to say, what your background, you know, what brought you to this point, you know, and you know, I'm just excited. I'm excited to hear all this stuff. Did y'all already get into the?
We just got into the intro. So let me introduce myself because I didn't really get to introduce myself yet. I'm Maddogg. That's 2 D's and 2 G's on that Maddogg. You can find me on Instagram at Maddogg. You can find SirGarrett at.
Find me at SirGarrett D on Instagram, and make sure you shout out 285 Live.
Yeah, and you can find us on Spotify. You can find us on YouTube, on IG. We're the 285 Live guys on IG. You can find us on Facebook, RSS.com, TikTok now. Josh is hooking me up, man. Look, this is all you see right now. The lights, the setup. Josh has been helping me out. So
absolutely.
If you hear a different quality, if you see a different quality, if you see numbers going up, that's all thanks to Josh. And Josh has been there for me for 10 years now.
Wow.
You know, Josh, I'm not even joking. Like, I'm trying to be as candid as possible, as transparent as possible.
Absolutely.
Josh is one of the reasons I've gotten married to Caroline.
Wow.
Because when I first got there, I was like, you know, there's no way that I can get, you know, holiday leave. And I just got to where I was in Germany.
Yeah.
And he was like, man, just go. Like, go for it. I'm like, what? Like, any of my other leaders in Korea, no, they were like, no, you got to be here a certain time. Everybody has, you know, different time periods where they can go on leave because, you know, seniority.
Right.
No, he pushed me to go, and he was like, hey, man, go do your business, you know, handle what you got to do, make that girl fall in love with you forever. Wow. And he pushed me to do that, man. Hey. All of this is because of you too.
That's respect.
I'll take my half then.
Yeah, rightfully so. We made up that room. Caroline made up that room for him. So
yeah, I'll tell you, I've stayed in a lot of places, and I'm glad I didn't get a hotel room. That's a nice place. Yeah.
Yeah, no hotel rooms. When we got guests coming in, I don't like for my guests to stay in hotel rooms. I like them to stay with us because you're gonna be with us anyway. I don't want to keep going down to Atlanta to come pick you up and bring you over here. You live with us. You're family at this point. You're always gonna be family. I'm
gonna check. We got some messages.
Got some messages? Go ahead. And while he's checking his messages, you know, we wanted to give a little.
Publix is that.
Oh yeah, okay. Love Publix.
Colleen Farmer says Southern hospitality.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. That's what we do down here. That's who we are.
And lovely people, all of Josh's followers and stuff. I just want to let y'all know that we do give our shout outs to our businesses. One of them being food. That is our quote unquote sponsor, unsponsored for our hookah that we usually have on our episodes. So if you hear, you know, if you don't see us again and you hear little gurgling noises in the background, that's exactly what's going on. 2 episodes we found out that this thing lights up.
I didn't put the light on it because I was rushing.
But it lights up.
Yeah,
know that
when we
part.
go on our ad break, we normally do like a small ad break in between to, you know, get some chips in our system, you know, get some Jesus Juices, I called it last episode. But just get a little, conversation going so that we can be fresh for you guys, give you fresh content.
Hold on, I gotta stop you right there because you said juice. I see Josh's Mason jar, and I'm just trying to make sure that the man.
We talked about it, but go ahead.
Unsweet.
Oh
Yes,
gosh,
unsweet.
oh,
You missed the good stories, but you'll get to hear it on episode 5 when it comes out on the 26th.
okay. I just every time I see Josh now, I'm just gonna have my back pocket's gonna be full of Splenda, so I can just go just sneak it in there a little bit and stir it up.
We're gonna do some content up in Dayton one day.
Yeah, I'd love for you
Make
guys
sure
to
you
come
bring
out.
your
Yeah. I'll have sugar when you come.
I just had to point that out to y'all because I'm very observant and stuff. And
Yeah.
so, oh man, I'm just like I said, I'm just very happy to have a great mind here, a creative mind, and if you don't mind, if you want to go ahead and jump into it.
Yeah. So one more thing before we get into it. Just to let y'all know, we are a rotating panel. 285 Live, we have normally 4 hosts. 2 of our people couldn't be here today. SirGarrett just made it into the building.
Yes.
He was out doing church work. Today is Sunday, so he was out helping the community around Atlanta. He was giving out boxes and stuff like that. So we'll excuse him this time.
I run this.
He is what I call the MC. He's the driver of the segments. I'm just the tech guy. That's how we handle things here. But before we get into our guest spot segment, I do want to talk about some things that we did yesterday.
Oh yeah.
So
I'm interested about that too.
Josh brings not only good spirits, good vibes. He brought us some educational material. He let us see into his world, which I appreciate. He brought myself and my wife out, and we took them around different places in Atlanta. If you want to go more into it, since you're the expert, go ahead.
Well, I don't want to get too specific because
But just like how you came up with the idea for us to go on those types of ventures and stuff.
Yeah, so that was kind of an evolving decision-making process over the past few weeks, and I wish some of the people that are like around me in Dayton, because I've been so centered on what I was going to try and accomplish here.
Yeah.
But basically, I had this generalized idea. There's a really infamous serial killer here named Wayne Williams, who just pretty much wiped clean a good portion of young children here in Atlanta between the years of 1979 and 1981. And I just couldn't think of you guys have had some incredible history here. Serial killer-wise, you guys have
A couple.
a couple. But that one really stood out to me.
That is,
because,
just going on the route that you took us. Actually, we were going 285 most of the time. Like, we started on the east side.
Yeah.
We started a rec center, and then we went over to a bridge that sat over the Chattahoochee River. Again, we're going to go into more details later, but it was interesting to see the path. I'm like,
And the thing that really, when I try to do a story on anybody, I try to relate it to me, right? So Wayne Williams to me stood out because he was also a content creator.
Wow.
He was one of the, he worked for a radio station. He was a self-promoter. He was semi-personable. A lot of people liked him, which is a trait that a lot of serial killers have. It's a sociopath in them.
yeah.
But he just really stood out to me, and how he was caught was just so unique and so dumb that I was like, we have to do this story.
Yeah.
So when I was going through, and I was like, okay, I want to do these types of shots, and we discussed some of those yesterday. I want to do some close-ups. I want to. There was a point where I climbed out over the top of a bridge area, and then was just like trying to get this
Some
perfect
stuff
shot.
that we probably wouldn't do. I don't know. Maybe SirGarrett is a little braver than I am. I don't do nothing. I don't like woods. I don't like bridges that sit over water.
Yeah, we went in bridges.
Yeah.
We went in
I
the
did it though.
woods.
I did it this time though.
Yeah.
For the people. For you.
For the people.
For you. for his people, for our
Yeah,
people.
and there were several points where his wife was legitimately scared.
Yeah. She screamed. There's a random dude just walked across the bridge. She just, you know how she is. My wife can watch a kids movie and then something just jumps out on the screen and she just screams. That's just
Yeah.
But she persevered and we did the thing.
Wow.
So my very first content video, I don't remember if you, I don't know if you remember making this comment, but you said it's the Bill Nye of murder.
Yes.
Okay, so I've taken that and I'm just like, oh, I'm running with that.
great.
I like that.
That's a bar. I
Because
like that.
I mean, I love Bill Nye. When I was a kid, I was
Yeah.
like the way he comes on the screen and he's like, I'm bringing you into the world with me. And that's the type of feeling I got when I was watching this video. Because it's not like some plain professor who's like, there's this guy who killed these people here. He's like, no, come on with me on this journey to see where and how they were and what they're thinking. And he's like, he's not giving opinions or anything. He's doing his research. You can tell he knows what he's talking about. He's showing you pictures and all types of stuff. His setup, I love the colors. I love the hooded guy that she got, Charlie.
Charlie, yeah.
So much branding you can do with that. But go ahead. I'm not going to steal your thunder.
No, and I can't wait to go back to the stories I write, because I write several different
I
things.
cannot wait. I can't wait.
Yeah.
But so I can't, especially when I get to like the female serial killers, I cannot wait to get into talking about that. But so yes, so when I got here, I was like, okay, I have this generalized idea, I have this path I want to take, and I also want people to understand that there's a tone, right? When people read it and you're watching it at home, you don't get the feeling of the tone of what happened unless the narrator is expressing that emotion, right? So when we were going through and we were filming, it was important to me that when we were capturing the moment, that individual was giving the seriousness level of it.
Yeah, and I'm not an actor.
Yeah.
I am monotoned. I barely can emote unless you see me like off screen. But when I'm on screen, I'm just like. There were several reports. Like how I basically just trashed the guy who would do that. I would do that. That's the type of person I would do. That's why.
Kind of like a deer in the headlight type
Yeah. Cameras are just not my thing. I can do it now because I'm comfortable at my house.
Yeah.
But when I'm outside and doing that thing, that's his lane.
I'm
I'm getting into it though.
I love it, and I actually enjoy that type of thing. I enjoy the acting, the animation, being someone else for a second because actually Maddogg and I was helping out his brother with a cartoon. He did an adaptation of Scooby-Doo and Among Us.
Okay.
And so we all had to play a different voice, and I was Freddy for the time. And I had to bring a different pizzazz and bring him to life. And I've had people, comment, tags, tell me up front, it's like, dude, this is, you did a great Freddy, have you ever done voice acting before? I actually have people follow me and DM me.
Hold up now. We're all going to need to hear Freddie.
Yeah, nah, it's
It was just in the moment.
It was just in the moment. Like, I can't, like in that moment, it's like, okay, I watched X amount of seasons of Scooby-Doo, you know what I'm saying? It's,
Yeah.
All right. But it was always funny to me because, I always joke like that, like, all right, gang, we're about to go find the killer. Like, you go over there, you're like, Wilma,
Wilma? When did Wilma get?
I don't know. I was one of them. But it was always like, hey, Freddy's like, hey, I'm bringing all the girls with me and Scooby and the dog. Y'all go and Shaggy and
Scoop, let's go.
Yeah, y'all go ahead.
Smoke some pot.
Right. And so it was just funny. Like, it was just funny to me
That's
to like
different
be in
experience,
character, but then to remix it into something
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
something satirical. Oh yeah, I'm bringing all the ladies with me, and y'all just fend for yourselves.
Yeah.
Hey, but matter of fact, here's a snack. Y'all leave me alone. You know what I mean? Like, so it's I've always thought that was a great outlet for myself because I was actually the opposite. Like how Maddogg was saying, like when the camera's on, it's like, but me, I love it. I love it because I'm somebody else for a second. I'm bringing a character that someone has had.
That's why he's the MC.
Well, I mean, you did an amazing job.
Oh, thank you.
I
had a great.
The only person that outshined you that day was your wife.
Yeah, but my wife, she's used to theater and stuff like that too.
But I mean, you did a really incredible job. You know, if you think about it, that one take we did at the well, I don't want to get into specifics, but we went to several murder locations. That one scene only took you 5 takes. I mean, I can't express to you. Sometimes I will run through 20 something times at least on a shot.
You got it in 5.
5. No, she did it in 1.
Well, wait, let me ask. Wait, let me ask. Was it a scream? Was it just a scream?
No. She had
Full lines.
Okay, cool. Yeah, full lines. I did help her out. I had a little signal because she could not, for the sake of, like, before we start rolling, she was like, oh, there's just one line I just can't get. It was like at the hands or something. And she would just say at the hands at the time. I was like, she said, oh, at the hand. She was like, I need you to stand over there behind him and just do this when I get to that point. That's all I did. Okay. But she did get it.
And she didn't know I was filming.
Yeah, she did get it.
Oh, good.
She did get it.
She just straight walked up, said it, and I said, okay, that's a take. She was like, what?
That's awesome.
But we will be jumping to your guest spot. 'Cause
Yes.
that's why we brought you here.
Exactly.
We're going to bring you here so that you can talk about what you know. Before we do get into that, I want to know, who is your favorite, serial killer to research?
Oh, man. Okay, so first I have to do some preemptive stuff.
Sure. Right. Yes.
I've been all over the world. And in each location, I tried to go to somewhere that a serial killer was at. Right? I've always been semi-fascinated in some form of fashion in it. So my favorite place to do it was in London. Jack the Ripper.
Jack the Ripper.
Jack the Ripper, right? And I mean, I drank at the bar. I ate dinner above it, where they would have stayed.
Yeah.
I went to Whitechapel. I got to see all these really incredible places.
Yeah.
My favorite serial killer is definitely H.H. Holmes.
Okay.
And the link between the two is the H.H. Holmes is a very high possibility that he was also Jack the Ripper. So, and the only way that they can't link it right now is DNA.
Okay.
So.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay. So where did the fascination start, if you don't mind me asking? What made you think, okay, is it you trying to connect it, or how'd that come about?
So I have major depressive disorder.
Okay.
And so I've always been somewhat on the dark path, thinking wise. And so when I started writing when I was very young, and I think one of the first writings I ever got, submitted up for awards and stuff like that, it was a National Young Authors Award or something like that.
Okay.
And it was a story about a serial killer, basically, and I just kind of always stuck with that.
Yeah.
When I was in my late teens, early 20s, when you're in love and you're just like, oh, love.
Yeah.
I wrote a lot of poetry.
Right.
Yeah, so you can still find some of that, and a lot of that's published. But yeah, so writings though are almost entirely. I mean, when I went through psychology in college, all my papers are on schizophrenia, schizotypal.
Oh, congratulations, by the way. You just graduated.
Yeah, thank you.
Congratulations, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, yesterday actually was
you have a bachelor's in psychology.
Psychology, working on my master's in literary fiction.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you said you had another degree, right? Associates or?
Yeah, I'm an associate. I have 2, one in construction and one in construction.
So you
that's
can just
what
do
we
it
say.
all. That's basically what you're saying.
285 brings in another Renaissance man.
Man,
Another one.
You can do it all. But go ahead. Sorry.
I just like education.
Yeah.
I like the environment, really. What were we talking about?
Well, it was kind of more like your background, the origin of how you would get into your creative writing.
So I also don't like a lot of people. Right? So in my writings, if I'm knocking you off,
Yeah.
I don't like you.
Right. I'm glad you like me then.
So very much in the same way that Charlie kills people in the book is me writing you out of my life.
Oh, wow.
Right. So
you're basically getting into character when you're. I do that too when I write. I don't write about serial killers or anything like that, but like when I tend to write about, I'm into sci-fi, like stuff with like aliens and stuff like that. So I usually kind of personify my characters or get into character like I'll sit there and have a thought about what a character might be doing, you know, if they were trapped in somewhere with an alien, so I can get in the character when I'm writing.
Yeah.
Because you need to know who your characters are. So
Absolutely.
but going to knowing who your characters are, we're actually going to talk about a list of serial killers that I gave you.
Yeah, absolutely.
The challenge that I gave you to look up some ones that just stuck out to me. I don't know if you want to start or you want me to just name the ones that.
Yeah, name the ones that you want to talk about first, and then move past that. Now, I will say that of the three you gave me, one was very well known to me.
Right.
The other two, well, I've heard one of their names definitely, and we'll get into that. I didn't know too much about them, so I can appreciate you bringing me these two individuals. So
the first one was
the Stocking Strangler.
The Stocking Strangler. I was about to say
Strangler.
because we talked about two that had kind of a similar name, but the Stocking Strangler is from Columbus, Georgia, apparently. So I wanted to keep it kind of local. I know that's off of what was that?
Just down south.
Yeah. Off on the west side, way west, but in Columbus.
I noticed that a lot of murders are down that way.
A lot of rural
Yeah.
area.
You disappear. You can go to Alabama real quick. So.
Yeah, and I can appreciate you not bringing up Wayne Williams because he is you guys' most prominent.
Yeah.
So.
Just wanted to think outside the box because Wayne Williams is what we did yesterday. So.
Also, a little wink out there for anybody who's wanting to watch that video. We may or may not have also determined whether or not he may or may not have actually done it too. So that's a fun little peek. But you're talking about Carlton Gary.
Yes.
Killed 7 people,
Yeah.
and as the name implies, he strangled them with their stockings.
Wow. With the victim stockings?
Yeah. Well, yeah, he didn't carry them around in his pocket.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
But what I do find odd is a lot of murderers will use, objects of, oh, that's conveniently there. And in that age range, which I think, I wrote it down. Well, I mean, it was the 1970s. So, I mean, 1970s stockings were all the rage. Not so much now, but stockings were all the rage. So it was probably very easily
bringing it back.
found on hand, yeah. Are they?
Yeah, they're bringing stockings back.
Oh, okay.
But
I don't know how I feel about that. But all right.
not that I'm trying to give anybody any ideas. We don't need a Stocking Strangler too. But
Nah, we don't need no copycats either.
no.
Yeah, and you might be disappointed when you get in there. All you find are trying to strangle him with thongs.
G-string.
The G-string strangler.
Oh goodness.
But so yeah, he is. He did all of his killing in Columbus and Jackson. Yeah. He sexually assaulted them and/or raped them. Then he would strangle them to death.
Is that a trend for a lot of? Because
It's sexy when you ask me smart questions like that. Yes, absolutely.
Because
Yeah.
when I think of
Yeah.
like the movies, they always have some link to either their mothers or some type of like.
You keep saying sexy stuff. I love this. Yeah,
Because
yeah,
that's
yeah,
how
yeah.
it is. It's like the Texas Chainsaw.
It almost entirely comes back to the
yeah,
parents.
to the
Wow.
parents and stuff like that.
Almost every time.
Like a level of abuse or level
Yeah,
of...
like abusive.
Well, yeah. So there's a huge correlation between sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, or mental abuse with children, and that will eventually turn into psychopaths later. So for all of those out you swinging your hands around your kids, remember it can come back and bite you later.
Oof, you don't want him to come back like that.
Yeah. So I'm not saying spanking's wrong or right. I'm saying throwing belts at their faces and stuff like that. Watch yourself. They grow up.
Yeah.
And if they happen to be sociopaths and you do that, it probably will not end well for you. Also, and since we're on that subject, Ed Gein is a classic example of this. I don't know if you know who Ed Gein is. All right, so have you ever seen Leatherface? Well, I mean, it's like I think there's 73 movies and shows like that based off of them. Who's the other one I love comparing him to is Wild Bill.
Okay.
From it puts the lotion on its skin,
Right,
right? That guy. Yeah, so that is off of Ed Gein. Ed Gein is a classic example of being too overbearing of a parent as well.
Okay.
I have not a lot of room to talk. I have 2 children of my own.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can be pretty overbearing, right? But I had to watch myself, and Ed Gein is a classic example of why, right? His mother was so strict and so
That he snapped.
he snapped. When she died, right? He went through. I mean, I can't even express to you guys. There is not even a number that they are aware of for sure how many of this man skinned, wore around their faces as masks.
Wow.
When they went into his home, he was a collector. He was a hoarder. Is the word, right? The whole house was just disgusting. But his room, the room of his mother who died, immaculate. It was spotless. It almost always comes back to the parents.
Wow.
And also sexual. Generally, any type of murder in that realm is usually sexually motivated as well.
It's so like interesting to think about when it comes to at least like this, like you said, the sexual side of things. Like, is it more like the I wasn't able to get it type thing, or like is that like a signature in a sense? You know.
Well, I mean, you that's a good question, but then you run into individuals like Ted Bundy who had no issues at all getting it, none. And I've had girls argue with me onto his level of attractiveness. I don't think he was an attractive person. I think that he was.
I didn't see it.
I mean, yeah, Zac Efron is, but Ted Bundy, I mean,
Not my type.
I think he was just so confident and so sociable that people were attracted to him in that way.
Okay.
But I mean, he didn't have to sexually assault anybody. He could get whatever he wanted, and he still did it.
Wow.
So
That's interesting. So another one I had on my list was a little bit more famous in that the Candyman, because we see the Candyman is more relevant nowadays. They came out with a Candyman movie. I can't keep saying the name because I feel like
You said it 3 times.
I did already.
what?
I'm sitting here counting. I'm
like, hold on.
I'm looking at the wall.
I'm like, don't
Who got to be one less host? I'm telling you that right now. Because I'm not getting caught up in nothing.
Oh my God.
I can't even look at the water for the reflection type thing. Like,
Right, yeah.
it's 5 and you
Yeah,
got
I'm at
3.
3. So we're not gonna say it 2 more times.
I'm much rather you say
Let
Beetlejuice
me help
than
you out
Candyman.
here.
we're gonna say the candy can. The candy can.
Well, so let me start by saying the Candyman from the movie doesn't have crap on the real Candyman, right? So his name's Dean Arnold Corell, I believe, or Coral. He was active from 1970 to 1973, and they don't have an exact number, but he raped and killed around 28, probably 28 young men. He was actually in the Army for a bit too. Actually, quite a few serial killers were in the service in some form or fashion. Most come from the Air Force. You would not think so. You would think it would be the Marines, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, that's what I would probably say.
That's not a slam on the Marines. I'm saying I would
but
assume.
as a level of intensity, the Marines were known as like the hardest service out there. Like,
Definitely the most controlled.
Yeah. The Air Force is like loose and you're like can do whatever you want. I mean, Air Force guys on our base were like basically in houses. We were just sitting there just like in these nasty looking barracks, but hey, that's a different story for a different time. War stories are coming later.
Yes.
But back to who's in
The Candyman.
Yeah, the Candyman.
All right, so sorry, it's too late. You already said a whole bunch. So
Man, lock the door.
That's 4.
Oh, he said it like 7.
Nah, he counting. Ah, man.
But the reason that he is called the Candyman is that his mother owned the Coral Candy Company.
Oh, okay.
And so before he joined the military, he was working there kind of just selling the candy. When he came back from the military and got out for mental issues, when he got out, he started working for them again. And they would employ these young men, and he kept a pool table in the back, and pornography and stuff like that, and he would, rape the kids. I don't know how else to put that.
Yeah.
But what's interesting about the Candyman is first off, he was never caught.
Wow.
He had 2 partner killers.
Really?
And they were both young men that he also raped, but for some reason did not kill, and he turned them into little killers. Finally, one of them had enough of it, snapped, and shot him himself. Yeah. So he never got caught, and both of them were sentenced to life sentence.
Now, okay, never mind. You took the answer the question before I could even ask it. Because I was about to say, did anyone else take up the title?
The mantle?
Right.
No.
Because, like, of course you can't compare apples to oranges, but of course the whole, like, the Saw series.
Yeah.
Like how then they actually found I guess you can call him game master, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep.
Someone else ended up taking it based off of their mental, you know what I'm saying?
I got lost during those movies. Like, I was up to the third one, and I was like, okay, I'm tracking. The fourth one, I was just like, is that a prequel? Is it like,
Right.
And then they was rapping it, they was pulling like the first movie and the second movie, and I was like, all right, I can't do this.
I mean, I know I can't compare the actual,
Fiction to fiction.
correct, but it's just the concept. The concept comes from someone, so that's the reason why I was asking that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And this is important. This is very important. It's going to be very important coming up in the upcoming video.
Sure.
During those years, there was over 10,000 people involved in a large pedophile ring that he was linked to, as well another serial killer from the Atlanta area. So that's going to come up important later in the videos.
Sure.
But I think it's important to recognize that this ring is not just a rumor.
Right.
It's never been shut down. It still exists to this day, and it was just as powerful in 1970s as it is now. So I think that's important to mention.
Absolutely.
And that is linked to the Candyman killer.
Okay, and there was one last one. Again, the name escapes me. I'm not really a good name person anymore. I do know he was in South Africa.
Oh, Moses Sithal.
Moses. That's what his name was. I should remember that. It's Sunday. But
So there's a lot of serial killers out there. And a lot of them have some pretty high body counts. Most sit around the average of 7. But Moses was pretty. When you do things, you either do things to excess or you do things hardly at all, right? He's one of the people who did it to excess. 97.
97.
Yeah.
97.
Here's what's really unique about him. Every one of them was female.
That's different.
That usually, you get bored with one gender and you move.
Correct.
So he's very.
Or if you're just like a killer of opportunity,
Yeah.
be anybody,
Do
right?
you think for his case it was more of like a power dynamic? I don't know if you reached anything in the research that you did.
So I don't want to. I think most of this stuff is sexually motivated. And when you start to talk about that high in numbers, you talk about one gender.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say probably sexually motivated in some form or fashion.
That makes a lot of sense.
But yeah, he was in South Africa.
Yeah.
He was called the ABC Killer. So that's how most people know of him.
Okay, the ABC killer.
Yeah, you can find his specials on Netflix, Hulu. They're
Yeah.
he's almost as well known as Jack the Ripper.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So just to wrap up this segment.
Oh, we gotta talk about the fathers of.
Oh yeah. I'm just saying. I was saying my portion of asking you the question.
Okay.
But I do want you to go to the. He already mentioned the fathers of it. So go ahead.
So wait. I didn't mean.
No,
mean to
you're
steal.
good. I
Yeah.
tried to drive to a different segment, but I should have gave you a heads up. But
The one when you think serial killers, you have to think. I mean, okay. So name some serial killers. First one's coming to mind. Zodiac. Yes.
that was gonna be mine.
That's point blank.
Let's see. You told me Charles Manson is a string killer, right?
Well, he would be a different type of string killer. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Because he had his for lack of better words, his girls do it for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Little cult he had going. Yeah.
There was. I mean, the Texas Chainsaw Killer wasn't he a real person? Or the family?
He's based off somebody.
Yeah, the family in Texas. I can't even. Can you think of any more? Like, because we talked about Jack. We talked about.
Not off the top of my head. The only one that stood out to me the most was the Zodiac Killer because he was just, to me, from what I've read and understood, like he was just so, his stuff was so encrypted
Yeah.
that it was kind of hard to really figure out who he was. And I love piecing puzzles together, but I never took the time to actually like sit down and be like, okay, like let's try to piece these puzzles together. But based off of, like you said, some of the well-known killers are so infamous that there's shows about them, there's adaptations about them.
Yeah, it's almost romantic.
Yeah.
To the point where it's just like I said, I've always been so fascinated into what drove people into being like, okay, well, let's make a show out of this because, you know, this is catching everybody's eye, or if there are legitimate fans of serial killers. You know, not necessarily in a way of copycat, but just more like what drove them to like, oh yeah, I'm a big fan of this. You know what I'm saying? Like what's
Man, so, you wouldn't believe the amount of groupies that these serial killers have.
right.
I mean, they have just as many as Led Zeppelin.
Right, exactly.
The ones who will physically travel to the prisons and have carnal relations with them.
Yeah,
Right.
Sometimes
I've seen
even
that a lot.
marry.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot.
And Charles Manson got married to a very famous woman
Yeah.
at the time. You know, she ended up eventually, obviously, not being married to him. But yeah, it's a very common occurrence. And I mean, it's just such a. I think there's a romanticism to it because it's such a. I think people are attracted to powerful people.
Yeah.
That makes
And
sense.
is there anything more powerful than having the ability to take somebody's life
And get away-
and get away with
There
it
you
for as
go.
long
And
as you do?
And that was what I was about to say, because it's like they found a way. Because we always say that, what is it? Those that are in jail are not real criminals because they're the ones that got caught.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or those that, so like someone who is able to elude any type of attention, any type of detection, point blank period, it's like, how do they do that? You know, like how do they get, because me, I'm snitching on myself, I steal something. Like I'm gonna take it and I'll probably take off, and then all of a sudden my conscience will eat me alive to the point where I'm like, I gotta say something to
Yeah,
somebody.
that's the biggest difference. Is like, you know, having that conscience. Like a lot of people, I don't know what they're thinking about, but you know, to me it seems like for their conscience, they're just like they can turn it off. You know?
Yeah.
Or it was never there at all.
Or never there at all, and they just aren't bothered by it because you know you see. You know, those eerie pictures of them. If they did get caught, they're smiling in their photos. You know. When
Yeah, it's disassociative behavior is what it is. I mean, it doesn't bother you at all. Just, that's what it is. It's a fact.
So, could it be in a way, because I read when, in the First World War, where there are a lot of men in service that had an issue taking another person's life, instead of, when they set up targets, instead of saying, you know, kill that person or shoot that person, it was shoot the target. So desensitizing the person.
Yes. Yeah. So
you know what I'm saying?
Yes, the military and the police, they use human-shaped silhouette targets, and there's a reason for that. It does subtly desensitize you to what you're doing.
Right.
And I don't see an issue with that.
But
if I'm being honest.
But my thing is, but what makes a civilian? Because it's different when you are sworn to protect. It's different when you're defending your country. But when you have a regular civilian, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. What could be? Well, we already talked about the different types of abuse and things of that nature. So your primary target is already completed. What makes you stem out from there? You know what I'm saying? Because the target that you had initially was gone. Like for a lot of these serial killers, like you were saying, was majority of the time their parents, or it was someone that resembled a woman that they were obsessed with.
Oftentimes their mother.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I mean it's true.
I know.
It's
I know.
the Oedipus. Yeah.
Right. So at what point do you go ahead and change? Like what makes you change from that ideal target?
Yeah.
That's the part that kind of is so interesting to me, because I'm like once, like if I'm given an assignment, like let's just say it like that, like if it's an assignment, a homework, not to desensitize what they have done.
Right.
But your objective is clear, your objective is completed. Now what?
Yeah. So where do you go from there?
In the same way that when you go to pick up a new hobby, right? Like I do on my free time, I like to do card tricks, right? Once I learn a card trick,
On to the next one.
I don't go, all right, then I'm done with magic.
Right, exactly.
Right?
Right.
It's the next. What can I get away with now? What can I do to increase the thrill of it next time?
Correct.
So it's important to understand how the mind works.
Right.
Right. We've all been to school here. We all have a generalized idea of how the body physiology works. You have your prefrontal cortex.
Yep.
The thing that stimulates it up there are a series of chemicals and hormones.
Correct.
Dopamine, serotonin. It's this incredible influx of these chemicals that literally determine decision making.
Yeah.
Right. When I go out and I climb up to the roof and I jump off and I make it, I'm just this huge adrenaline rush. I'm like, whoa, I'm stoked.
Right.
So when you have things like ADHD, depression, any of these stuff like that, you are constantly just struggling to stay happy.
Right.
So you are always going to search for that next adrenaline rush, that next flood of chemical and hormone into your prefrontal cortex. So that's what's happening. They do it, they're stoked about it, the excitement wears off, and then they're like, oh, what's next? Right? Same thing that happens to us happens to them, except they're doing it in a different format, basically. Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense. And it's like I said, this concept is so interesting. Like I said, because I've never really went down this realm or went down this road to think like, okay, which is another reason why I'm asking you about this, because I know you're creative writing. Like, it seems like you have to enter into that mindset of, you know, some of these serial killers in order to understand, like, okay, you know, how would Charlie go about doing this, or how would I even get away with it, you know, because at the end of the day, you are writing influenced by said people, and it's like, for your readers, it's like, okay, you have to make sure you have a certain plot twist. Otherwise, like, oh, same old such and such, or same generic such and such. So, I love this, man.
Yeah.
I love it.
And this is a great conversation and all, but interesting time, because, you know, we do have multiple segments that we want to hit. Not to jump off of the serial killer bandwagon. You are a man of many talents.
Absolutely.
When I first met you, the first thing that you showed me was magic. So to me, that's like a completely different realm. You went from reality to, you know, this, you know, the concept of magic itself is like, how are you doing that anyway? Like, so how did you get into magic? Are you still doing that? Do you have time for it nowadays? Since you're,
I do not have time for it. I mean, I spend on average a week probably around 60 hours doing digital content, writing, and everything combined. And I mean, a lot of people don't realize that when you're running these sites and to them it took a few seconds to read, but for you it took hours to make these, you know. So, I mean, the last video alone took me 48 hours at least, right? You know, between shooting it and editing and sound overlays.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Holy smokes, man. I mean, just yesterday, that one trailer.
Yeah, we were sitting there.
We were sitting there in the
my lab,
office.
in my lab,
For hours.
just grinding it.
And I don't want to throw out any hate on anybody, but Caroline was taking a nap.
She did her part. She did more than her part. She got her stuff done in one take. It was us. We had to do our, you know, behind the scenes work.
But so magic-wise, no, I don't have time anymore. Do I still enjoy it? Yeah. How I got into it, my mother was obsessed with David Copperfield.
Okay.
She just thinks he's the hottest thing that's ever walked on God's green earth, right? Which I mean, he's an attractive guy, I guess. But I don't know if he's The Rock, right? But right. But yeah, so I kind of just, you know, she's kind of started me down that path, and I realized I had a really good knack at picking things up very quickly.
Yeah.
And I like to fool people.
Yeah.
Right.
What's your go-to? Like, you know, there's specialties. Like, some people are card people. Some people are, what's it called? Not deflection, but the.
I like to do mentalism a lot.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you ever get the opportunity, ask Frank about me jumping into his house mentally in Hawaii. because he still is probably like, how, right? But yeah, so I like mentalism because I don't have to have anything with me.
Right.
I do some sleight of hand, and I think it's probably the first thing I showed you.
Yeah. That's what. Yeah.
Yeah, and but my general go-to is a deck of cards, and that is the general go-to for all magicians because it's something that fits this big, fits in your pocket, and everybody has one.
Now, how do you feel about what's it, David Blaine and what's the
Chris
other?
Angel.
Chris Angel, the theatric magical people. You feel like
I don't want to knock on other creators.
Yeah.
But David Blaine, nothing, no hate at all. I think he presents well.
yeah, I like him.
He's an incredible creator.
Yeah.
And he takes things from other people with their permission.
Right. With their permission.
With their permission, and then he'll turn it and then present it as in a different way.
Yeah.
But he always credits it back, and
Right.
I enjoy that about Blaine.
What about Angel? You got anything? You just want to say, hey.
I think he's a phenomenal showman.
He's a great showman. That's. I like to start fires, though.
I like the dramatic pause. That's he said everything with the pause.
Yeah. So sticking to this topic of the side y'all don't see. SirGarrett, you are a very physical guy. You're into sports.
Yeah.
We all know about your sports.
Yes.
And all. I'm Mr. Baseball guy, and I'm Mr. Football guy, and I can do everything. There's something that your wife brought up to me, where you were kind of uncharacteristic in the Savage Race.
Yeah.
The Savage Race.
Yeah.
What is that about?
So, Savage Race is kind of like, you got your inspiration, your, was it Tough Mudder, Mud Run, something like that?
Yeah,
So
Tough Mudder.
it's a large obstacle course of about maybe 5 miles or so, multiple obstacles. You have to probably deal with water, have to deal with mud, got to deal with just the elements, point blank period. And it was my first time ever doing it. I did that with oh my gosh, one of my childhood friends. His name was Drew, and he went ahead and invited me to, go ahead and be a part of this. I was like, I've never done it, and at the time, I was in very, very top physical condition. Probably the best that I've been in my life, and in terms of endurance, like I had no strength whatsoever, but my endurance was crazy. And I was nervous. I was absolutely nervous. I never, ever get nervous about anything. And just the fact that it was so unknown to me, I was bugging out. As soon as I got there, I was excited. I was listening to all my hype music and stuff, and I was like, yeah, this is gonna be great. And then I realized I was 30 minutes early, and I sat there and I ran out of music to listen to, and it dawned on me like, hey, there's water involved, and I'm not a water person. I don't like water above my head, anything of that nature. So I'd say maybe 10% of the stuff was water, and I skipped over that. I skipped it. But all in all, it was really nice. We had the start off, it was a quarter mile run, and then the very first obstacle was water. Was water, ice water to be specific. You had to dunk yourself under the ice water, get yourself under the board and hop out on the other side like you just got baptized and Jesus Christ is waiting for you on the other side. So the most memorable moment for me of that was there was some monkey bars, like rotating monkey bars, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And I was watching people go in there, and there was 5 bars, road swinging bars, and they would get to number 3, and the third one was the trickiest one, and they would fall in the water. And I'm waiting for them to get up, and ain't nobody getting up. So I was like, I'm not doing this. Nope, not doing this. And my wife, then girlfriend at the time, was like, no, you gotta do this, honey. You put all this money in the third. She just wanted to see me squirm. She just loves to see me squirm. So I go ahead and I get to number 1, I get to number 2. I see number 3, hit number 3. Number 3's not moving the way I want it to.
Right.
Out the corner of my eye, I see a lifeguard in the far distance, ready to jump just in case I go in there. I said, nope, you ain't getting me. Jesus did not call for me today. So I threw my body as hard as I could to get to number 4 and made it. I was like, okay, I'm straight now. But all in all, it was fun. There was a lot of great. There was actually a competition before those that were there for the ha-has, and those were kind of like the best way I describe them would be more like your Olympians.
Okay.
Because they were in a full-on sprint in everything.
Yeah.
They never stopped. For 5 miles, they were in a sprint to every single obstacle. There were 26 obstacles. And they had like a $10,000 cash prize. And I looked at it, I was like, oh yeah, you know, I can do this. And after I hit my 4th obstacle, I said, yeah, no, I got it.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy myself when it comes to obstacles. As a matter of fact, my sister wants me to do it again with her, the Savage Race. So I got to start training for that. That's going to be, I think, in March or April, something like that. And it's cool, man. Now that I know what I'm getting into, I'm not going to be nervous. But it's fun. I like things that are challenging physically and preferably on land. So,
So they say like, you know, right side, left side of your brain has different functions and stuff like that. I think the left side is for creativity. I don't know.
no, that's right.
But so
That's what they say.
Yeah,
what they say.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But what
It's not
type
how
of
neurology works.
what type of creative outlets do you get? Like to we have tough jobs.
Yeah.
So we have to find things that help us unwind.
Yeah.
For like I guess for you would be like doing the content creating. You find that to be unwinding for you?
No.
Stressful.
What?
More stressful. but SirGarrett, what do you feel like your creative, not to say passions, but what do you like to do creatively?
You know what? I'm not even gonna
And
front.
scoot in a
And
little
a lot of people don't. The folks that know me really don't know this part about me.
That's the title of the episode.
I absolutely love these two things. I love underground rap battles. Absolutely love them. Just because of even though it's like, you know, they're still talking about, you know, there's still gun bars, still want to shoot folks, things of that nature. But just the creativity of folks revolving around something like that or setting their punchlines up in a way that I've never heard of before. I love that because I love to be funny. And if anything that I can take in terms of my delivery and speech, it's kind of a weird, like I said, it's a weird connection. But just delivery, if I can learn from them, I'll take it.
Yeah.
So I like listening. You know, you got, of course, you got your Charlie Clips, you got your Hitman Hollers, the guys you see on Wild Now. As you can see, the correlation between being funny and the punchlines from their raps, you know, schemes and things of that nature. For me, I think outside of that, I love to watch dancers on YouTube, like, you know, the guys, not your TikTok ones, but those that are actual choreographers. How they can take words and blend them into physical movement is amazing. And they are athletes in my eyes too, because they're, you know, the flips, the flares, the headstands, handstands, the, you know, just the flexibility in their wrist to, you know, start doing some of their tutting sequences. Like it's very, and it's very technical.
Yeah.
You can't just be flimsy. You can't just be, you know, just flopping around. You really have to be sharp in movements. So I'll sit there and watch that stuff for hours. It's kind of my unwinding. Of course, yeah, you try to mimic the stuff that they do as well, but it doesn't work like that. So I'm just a huge fan of dance. I'm a huge fan of rap. Not necessarily like the stuff that you hear on the radio.
Yeah, just different.
Just underground, the guys that really are trying to make something of themselves versus those that are already there and really take their craft not as seriously as others.
And beautiful people, I know y'all just seen a fresh face join. Our other host, Mr. Rico.
What's going on, everybody?
He's out there saving the world, but he's back here for you guys too. So Rico, it's the first time on camera. So go ahead and tell the people who you are. And we're talking about creativity and stuff like that. I have a special segment for you. I want you to talk about how you got into skating, because that's a big thing I see you do all the time. You skated out on one of the episodes. So go ahead and introduce yourself to the people, and then, you know.
I go by Rico. My Instagram is World1. You can find me on there. Thank y'all for having me today. You know, I'm usually here, but I haven't been here the past couple episodes. Been all busy, but we back and
Of course, of course.
But how did you get into skating?
Skating, man. I always skated from a young boy, you know. I grew up in the early 2000s, so, you know, we had a lot of skating influences.
So you watched roll bounce. And you
roll
got
bounce,
yeah.
and, you know, you got ATL and stuff.
Absolutely.
Grew up partially in Atlanta, so, you know, that was the thing, you know, going skating. I wasn't able to go to Cascade, though, until I was older.
Yeah.
So we just had to settle for different skating rings, like Sparkles in Gwinnett or Smyrna, or we'll go to Golden Glide in DeKalb, and I think I have another skating ring in McDonald. We just go to different ones,
Yeah.
with cousins and friends.
Now I skate a little bit. I'm like the deer on the track. I'm like everybody's going around me 500 miles per hour. You are a skater. Like you are out there and you do like the disco moves and the.
I mean, I try. I'm not the best, you know. But lately, I've been, you know, getting my own groove, and I've been getting my friends and buddies together. We've been going skating, you know, and trying to get a groove together.
Yeah.
So, but it's definitely good skaters out there. We skated with Shaq a couple of times. He came out.
seriously?
Yeah.
Really?
A big guy on some skates. His skates is
That
the size of a car. So.
I bet. Like move out the way. Shaq's on.
But if Shaq can skate, a guy with no coordination, anybody
He
can
got
skate.
coordination. He has big guy coordination. It's
Yeah,
different.
but-
You see,
It's
like
more awkward.
yeah, you see like 7-foot guys. They can't hardly walk.
First off, that's doctors.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, my
Yeah,
bad. Dr. Shaquille O'Neal, just in case he wants to be on the podcast one day, 285 Live.
Yeah, we're gonna disrespect.
Yeah.
Doctor, sheriff, businessman,
We just
analyst.
passed
Yeah.
your Papa
Done it all.
John's by Georgia Tech, so you know, Dr. Shaquille O'Neal.
Hey, run us our Krispy Kreme too.
Exactly. But
And Domino's, right? Doesn't he own Domino's? Little Caesars?
Papa John's.
Papa John's.
so skating. I seen you post on Facebook about skating.
Yeah, man, I love
You're a
skating.
skater too.
Yeah, I broke up with a girl for not being able to do a crossover once.
That's crazy.
Oh, man.
Have you ever broken up with a girl because she can't do skate moves, or you just like
Or just let invite her
I
back.
find a different girl each week to skate with. So
okay? So you just
I got different partners.
okay. That's what's up. You know, just to wrap up a little segment for creativity, because we're running a little long. For me, I've always been into creative writing. I have the worst handwriting of all time. Like I've never seen anybody's handwriting worse than mine. But I love to, like we were talking about earlier, like be into a character and put it on paper.
Correct.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I've always wanted to make comics. I've always wanted to make like a animated series or something like that, cartoons.
Which I'm waiting to be a part of.
Oh yeah. You're gonna get all that in. We're gonna do all that. In 2022, we're gonna be much bigger than what we are now.
Man, what? Let them know.
So we are gonna go to our ad break. We're gonna take about 10 to 15 minutes. Eat some chips. Get a little bit more personable, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna go back to Joshua Burkheiser because he is our guest all the way from Dayton, Ohio.
Dayton, Ohio.
Mr. Burkheiser, where can they find him on the socials?
Just type my name in. I'm on
That's
literally
it.
everything.
Just type his name
Yeah.
in. Just spell it right.
I'm even out there dancing like a clown on TikTok.
Yeah,
So
just-
I mean,
just-
I'll do what I got to do. I sell myself on these things.
Oh,
So
Absolutely.
That's the way to go.
That's
So-
what you got to do.
Again, type his name in right. We'll have it out on our YouTube, on Spotify, RSS.com. We'll have everything organized, Facebook, Instagram. You can find us on Instagram.
Yep.
You can find Rico at,
Roll one with zeros instead of.
you can find SirGarrett,
SirGarrett D.
and you can find myself at Maddogg, and you can find the 285 Live guys on Instagram.
And now TikTok.
And TikTok.
And TikTok.
We have a couple videos out there.
he actually is featured in one of mine.
Yeah. So check his TikTok out, check his YouTube out, check his Facebook, everything. He has a book out. We're gonna get into his book after we come back from the ad break.
Yeah, I'd like to break 8,000 followers by the end of the week. That'd be
That's a
nifty.
good goal.
So.
We're trying to break 500, so we're trying to catch up to Josh. But y'all stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Peace.
Hey, kids! Nah, I'm just playing. But in all seriousness, looking to spice up your holidays? The ladies at Marie's Jewel Events are looking to upscale those tired traditions with sleek and modern ideas. The event business is their business, so let them help you turn plain and boring to fresh and exciting. Give them a follow at Instagram at Marie's Jewel Events. That's MARIES Jewel Events. Once again, check out MJE to spice up your events and tell them the guys at 285 Live sent you.
What's good, brodies and brodettes? Charlie fans, Josh fans, whatever y'all want to call yourselves respectfully. We are back from our ad breaks. If you are joining us live, you see we got our snacks and recold our voov, you know what I'm saying? And it's lighting up this time. So appreciate Maddogg on that. We are back, like I said, with Josh, Maddogg, SirGarrett, and you know your boy Whoop Rico. And,
you need a whooping for being late.
But yes, we are back, and kind of one of the things we wanted to talk about here are some of our, kind of our favorite literature. It doesn't, necessarily a novel, whether it be a reading itself.
But before we start on our favorite literature, I like to treat our guests a little special.
Absolutely.
Let him go
Guest first.
because he is an author.
The author.
The author of Hi, My Name's Charlie. Great book. I've read up to the first chapter. I'm working on it. I've been busy. We all been busy men. But I'm going to finish it. And I'm going to do a review on our channel for 285 Live just for you. I'm going to do a live review. So
I appreciate that.
Our
Thank you.
detours, our 285
so that I can
detours.
show you my appreciation because you've done more than your share helping us out with this setup.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you.
But
I need to hire your wife as my social media manager.
Man, what? Oh my gosh, Caroline was great. Shout out to Caroline one time. Shout out to Caroline one time.
Carol Best, Carol
Big
Best.
round of applause.
Shout out
Yes,
to Marie's
yes,
Jewel
one time.
Events.
Marie's Jewel Events for helping us out with our crib designs.
Yeah,
Yes.
That's how we got started. We're a branding partner of Marie's Jewel Events. They got us started.
285 Live, the Marie's Moving Men.
That's
That's our other squad.
our other venture. So, but back to our friend, our special
Absolutely.
guest, Joshua Burkheiser.
So I actually write 3 different things right now. I have 2 more novels I'm trying to get out into
The ether.
here shortly. I'm about halfway through the second book. I started to write the third, but I do a weekly novella on Kindle.
Okay.
Which if there's any other authors out there, I recommend trying to go out and try to get published. I really do. However, Kindle novella is a great way to make a little bit of money.
Side money.
Side money, yeah, a little hustle there.
Right.
But I would use it in a way to supplement my story. So if for some reason somebody gets on and they're like, oh, well, it doesn't make sense that one of your characters did this.
Right.
I have a very easy outlet to be like, well, it would if you'd go back and read my novellas.
Right.
Right.
Because then I supplement everything, and it makes sense when you piece it all together.
Right.
So I started off with Hi, My Name's Aaron. And after Hi, My Name's Charlie, the book, right? So that's this one here. Right, that's the one everybody knows, the website. That's the Facebook Live, what they're on right now, Hi, My Name's Charlie.
And we'll have those links for our 285 Live guys. If y'all want to pick up the book, please pick up the book. Give it a read.
Just read.
Yeah, just read books.
Just read.
Read books. It's time to read books again.
It is time to read books, and I this is probably the pre-health portion of me, but guys, you have no idea how important it is to read just for your own mental health later on in your years. Dementia, all these things are helped staved off by reading. So
Correct.
But yeah, Hi, My Name's Charlie was a novel. So then I started the novella Hi, My Name's Aaron as a supplement to explain who Aaron is in the Hi, My Name's Charlie books. So after you finish reading the book, definitely go back and read that because it's going to start making more sense as to who Aaron is and why she was even a part of the story, right? And then I was inspired to start telling Charlie's story.
Okay.
But I already had written Hi, My Name's Charlie.
Right.
Right? So I framed it by using Hi, My Name's Allie. And that's from his girlfriend or lover, her point of view and how they met.
Right.
And then it's growing from there.
Okay.
So I love the cover, like for Hi, My Name's Charlie.
Oh, yeah.
That's like, come on, man. Like, how did you think about that? Like,
So this wasn't actually the first one. You know that I do a lot of graphic design stuff, and the one I submitted was, in my opinion,
better?
better.
What was the difference between it?
So, so the first one was very dark looking. It had same basic format, right, like this, except that it was the guy had on a tie,
Okay.
and a suit, and then this was a little bit different looking, but it was the same basic concept.
Yeah.
But I thought it looked very, very unique. And it also, when I started to enjoy these types of books, it was around the same time that they were marketing books looking like that.
Okay.
So I really wanted to push this type of a look.
Right.
So when the publisher contacted me, and they're like, okay, so what are your ideas for the covers? I submitted that entire full design.
Okay.
They could have just printed it,
Right. Exactly.
but they didn't. So they went with this because they wanted to youth it up. They wanted to be set towards the millennials.
Okay.
And that's something else that they don't tell you when you start to go publish. I own all the rights to my books.
Yeah.
Right? But most authors do not. And when they come back and they're like, all right, so we enjoyed your book. It's amazing. You're wonderful, right? However, we want Tina to work in a coffee shop. We want, because they're aging people without actually
Yeah.
saying their age.
That
right?
makes sense because I do when I was reading a lot of books, I see it seemed like the characters are out of character sometimes, like just for the times. Like they would go from being like a school teacher to being like a depressed school teacher, and it's like that didn't fit their character, like where you're going with the story.
Right, and how that's decided actually isn't even by the publisher.
Yeah.
That's decided by Barnes and Nobles, almost exclusive.
Really?
Wow.
Their book buyers contact all of the big, or actually it's the top 6 now publishers. You got Penguin and all that, right?
Yeah.
They contact them and they say, this is what we're looking for, this is what we want, this is the style of book we want, these are the covers we want.
Wow.
And to them, it's not a personal opinion, it is entirely math. Amazon works the same way, Barnes & Nobles works the same way. They determine what's coming out this year.
So there's analytics when it comes to
It's
literature?
entirely math.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So kind of books that you get into when you were younger.
Mainly Westerns.
Westerns?
But so the top selling books of all time are in this order: Harry Potter,
Of course.
We know that's
Dan Brown,
Okay.
any of his, but specifically the Da Vinci Code.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
Right after that are the rest of the Harry Potters. Then 50 Shades of Grey. 50 Shades of Grey has sold more copies from one publisher than the Bible.
Then Twilight though. 'Cause I thought Twilight.
Time out. He said the Bible.
Yeah, I know, but
Yes.
we're gonna glance over it.
50 Shades of Grey.
Okay, and here's why. You have, when you think classification for top sellers of books, you have to think from one individual publisher.
Correct.
The Bible's been being published.
Forever.
It's literally free trade. I can publish the Bible. If I want
Right.
to. I can put the Bible by Joshua. It's free trade.
Yeah.
I can do whatever I want to do, and I can print it.
Yeah.
So you cannot count them in as the #1 selling book of all time.
Okay.
Yes, it sold the most copies.
That makes sense.
I cannot argue that, but I mean,
my
and honestly, I would argue maybe not compare that to Harry Potter because
Harry Potter's crazy. Like,
guys,
Everywhere.
guys, and another interesting fact, it also has the most mistakes.
Mistakes?
Mistakes.
Oh, yeah. I have seen that.
Yeah, yeah.
actually.
And what I love about J.K. Rowling is her absolute steadfastness to. She basically told all of her fans, like, I don't care.
right. I remember her saying that too. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do what I want
So
to do.
mad props, because every time when you guys say I have a complaint about my book, I'm immediately with my publisher like, change it.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
So mad props to J.K. Rowling.
Yeah. Shout out to J.K. Rowling. We're trying to get. Into
Dan Brown, J.K. Rowling.
You need a black wizard, J.K. Rowling. But go ahead.
But okay, so some people were like, the internet is a strange place nowadays. They were dead set on saying that Hermione was black, and I was just like, huh? Like, where'd you get that from? I read the book myself, so I'm like, that was just a new millennial thing. But you know, I'm not even gonna blame millennials. Gen Zers were just like, they're just like, you know, all these characters are wrong. You know, Dumbledore, he's
Gay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, I didn't get that, but okay, I will run with the story too.
I don't see an issue with any of it, and why not make Hermione black and white?
Right.
Why not?
Lore building is fun.
Now, this is we're on the topic of authors and whether or not somebody should be black or not. Do you guys see the new James Bond?
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about it?
It's okay.
I like it. Personally,
I know at one point they wanted Idris Elba to be
I would have been
Personally-
totally on board with Idris Elba.
same.
personally, as a black guy, this may be weird, but I feel like characters that were white should stay white, just like characters that were black should stay black.
You
can
can't
make a different alteration of them,
Right.
But like people would feel some type of way if they make Black Panther a white man. You know?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, can you imagine him pulling off his mask and being me? Like,
So I see ethnicities are like, you can make an alteration of a hero. Like, there's different universes for Spider-Man.
Correct.
Spider-Man's my favorite superhero, but Peter Parker is always
Peter Parker is Peter Parker.
It's Peter Parker,
but you can make a Miles Morales, which is the same thing. I had that issue too because they made Wally West, which is one of my favorite Flashes. Mm-hmm. Everybody's a Barry Allen fan, but I was a Wally West fan because I grew up with the Justice League, the old 2000s TV show. He was a white guy, red hair. Mm-hmm. That was his signature. I was like, that's the Flash. And then the new Flash TV show, and then the new 52, they all just decided to make him this light-skinned guy, and I was just like, that's not Wally.
He's black.
And they changed like all of his history. I'm like, you're just doing that for the demographics, but that's not who he is. And then they tried to retcon it and say, okay, that was his cousin. I'm like,
if they would have did that in the first place and be like, okay, he has another cousin, or add a character, changing original characters,
just been like Tyrone Johnson, the Flash, and we just been like, okay, cool.
I mean, I do it all the time with my books. Yeah. There's absolutely no reason. It's almost like and I really don't like slamming on writers, but it's almost like they can't use their voice in Hollywood.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like the big wigs up there are like, no, you couldn't possibly, right? And a classic example of that, to go back to James Bond, they because of the way the world is right now, they couldn't even use another man.
Right.
Yeah. They were like, all right, well, we're not going to use James Bond's name, okay? But you guys effectively killed the franchise.
Correct.
Hear my words. If you continue down this path, it's going to die.
Yep.
You're going to have to bring back James Bond.
I don't know. Casino Royale kind of killed it for me, but
I understand.
Skyfall made up for it, though.
And I understand. Skyfall was good.
Skyfall was good.
But you got to also remember, Casino Royale was also Ian Fleming's first dive into James Bond.
That's
so
right.
I mean, just like my book's going to evolve as it goes through, so did his. But you guys effectively killed by going the direct opposite of everything James Bond is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good job, guys.
So we're gonna jump around a bit because time isn't not an issue, but we are trying to get to the Atlanta airport. And if you know anything about the Atlanta airport, man, it's crazy down there. Trying to get
the first busiest airport other than LA. I think we're busier than LA.
It's busier than LA.
It was number one for a while. I think it went to number 2 lately.
Not to LA though.
No, not to LA. I think it's New York, but
I can see New York.
Yeah,
LaGuardia.
Yeah, LaGuardia. But just the interest of time, I do find I do want to highlight your book. Hi, my name's Charlie. We're gonna put those links on YouTube. It's gonna be on our Instagram. It's gonna be everywhere. So please, 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 give somebody a Christmas present they will never forget, because it's a unforgettable title. I love the cover. I love everything about it. I know they changed it, but I would like to see.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, we're gonna put that out there too. Yep. But we're gonna talk about just different books that we've gotten into when we're in school. For me, I've always liked books that you can kind of be the character. Like anytime they're like, I want you to read a story, you're gonna be a character in the book. So I like plays mostly. Like
yeah, sure.
Romeo and Juliet, Streetcar Named Desire.
Streetcar was good.
Yeah, and they would assign you a character. For Romeo and Juliet, I was Mercutio. I can't remember. Can't remember who I was for.
That is easily the best character.
Yeah,
of the entire thing.
I can't remember who I was for Streetcar Named Desire, but I remember being mad because even before the middle, they kill off Mercutio, and he's like the best character in the play.
To be fair, Shakespeare did that a long time before your school did.
But I get that. But what I'm saying is, we read
There's John Leguizamo in the Leonardo DiCaprio version.
Yeah, I actually showed my wife that a couple of weeks ago, and she's like, why do they have guns and stuff like that? I was like, they try to make it
modernize it to the 90s, yeah.
But and so just to go to that point, Mercutio died. It made me upset. Then I was like, I'm gonna be the title role next time. So we started reading The Odyssey by Homer, and I was like, I'm gonna be Odysseus.
Yep.
Thinking I was big and bad. But then I realized that there's like a million lines that he has to
Yeah.
say. Inner monologues. So by the time I'm reading like my 1,500 line for the day, I'm just like, why did I do this? And it's like, okay, you got another.
But you
scene.
sounded like him just then.
Yeah.
So
I tried to put myself out there. And,
this is Sparta.
And I'm just sitting there just like, man, Odysseus. Who else is speaking at this point? He's just talking to
It's just him.
He's talking to a ogre, and he has his whole inner monologue. And I'm like, man, I made a terrible decision. But other books that I'm into, I couldn't get into Harry Potter like that. I got into like the first 4. I think Goblet of Fire was like the 3rd or 4th. Do not kill me, Potter fans. I don't know the order.
Too late. They got you.
I couldn't get
All of my followers read.
Really, yeah. I couldn't get into Twilight.
There are 1,000 people right now going.
I couldn't get into
The
Twilight. I was into the Hunger Games series. I like that.
Yeah.
Oh, that was great.
That was one of the best-selling books.
Yeah, I think it's like number 7.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I actually did a parody dramatic reading of 50 Shades of Grey. That was hilarious.
I bet you did.
I did. Because everybody during like 2000.
Please tell me it was at your wedding.
No. It was way before it was before I met Caroline. It was in college, and we were just recording stuff, and I was like, let's just do 50 Shades of Grey because everybody's doing it. Everybody's doing the little dramatic readings of that. And we were just like, let's make them all black. Something just stupid, but SirGarrett, any books come to your mind?
Growing up, oh my gosh, in elementary school, I was a huge Magic Treehouse fan.
Yes.
Magic Treehouse, oh my gosh, like I think I read the whole series. Like we made it a competition to read every single Magic Treehouse.
Everything's a competition with you.
It is. I don't know. I just loved it. I really did. Like you said, just getting engulfed into books and like feeling like you were part of it and turning the page, and then once you get to the end, you're like, I got to get to the next one. You know, each adventure was great.
Yeah.
Once I got older, when I got into college, I took a philosophy class, and one of the biggest things was the analogy of the cave, which at the time I couldn't stand my professor because he was a young guy and he made us think and he challenged everything. But it pissed me off because I'm like, bro, this is what I'm thinking. Why can't you just understand what I'm thinking?
Right.
And he's just like, well, what about this? Well, what about this?
See it in a different perspective.
Correct. But at the time, I was so one-dimensional. I was just like, bro, listen to what I'm trying to say and agree with it. But that's not the concept of philosophy. Yeah. And the analogy of the cave really blew my mind because what I got out of it was whatever your perception of reality is, that's yours, but that's not just the only thing. Like, you could be so wrapped up in that one concept and that one aspect the whole time that you don't realize there's a bigger world outside of that. Right. And so that made me challenge my whole thought process.
You know what challenged my thought process was Animal Farm. I don't know if y'all ever...
That was a great one, too.
Man, I went into it thinking like, oh, we're just going to talk about animals and farms and stuff. Right. And then they just turned... They overthrew the humans and they turned into their whole society. And then
back at the barnyard.
Back at the barnyard, I think is based off of Animal Farm. It's
it's a huge parody.
Yeah, they go. It's like a racial thing. There's like
there's political sides of it too. Didn't the pigs ran the whole place?
Yeah, the pigs. Right. Because they were so used to...
Oh, that's some commentary right there.
Yeah, they were so used to...
See?
Senate.
Anyway. See? So, Rico, you're the youngest member of...
it doesn't have to go that deep.
But, but you're the youngest of 285 Live, so we had different sets of books.
We had...
I got one more, but go ahead.
Yeah. We say one. Oh, okay, go ahead first.
Lord of the Flies.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that because that's got a lot of political reference too.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Is that like an off-brand of Lord of the Rings?
No.
It's its own storyline.
No, see, great question though. See, because it's a generational thing.
No, you're right.
That would be the first.
Well, they quit teaching in schools.
They did. They really did.
Lord of the
Flies found it to be offensive. So.
Yeah.
I guess the best way to describe it. Do you remember that show, The 100? It was on the CW. Yeah. It kind of runs along the same thing where you're on this like inhabited place, and you're basically creating your own civilization. And so, of course, there's
I'm trying to think of something modern.
I was about to say, what's the best way to put it?
What's that? It's kind of a Hunger Games knockoff. It's
Allegiant. No,
Was it Law?
There was
Allegiant something.
That was part of the series.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but y'all.
But anyways, yeah. Well, go ahead, Rico.
When you're talking about dystopias,
I bet you they know.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Well, go ahead.
I definitely check that book out. You know, when we was younger, we started out with stuff like Captain Underpants. And,
I mean, we did too.
And Junie B. Jones.
We did
But
too.
I'm kidding. As I got older, I read things like The Lightning Thief in school with Percy Jackson.
Yeah,
There you
Percy
go.
Jackson. That's
Harry
great.
Potter. I really wasn't. Harry Potter was too thick of a book for me.
Yeah.
But it is good. It is good. Yeah,
It is.
It was very intimidating. But once you read it, it's not like it's, because I always had a high reading level. That was probably the only thing I was good in school was history and reading. But I would say my favorite book of all time is probably The Giver.
Thank you.
That's-
I was about
yes.
to say that.
Yes.
Thank
And
you.
you know what?
I'm glad you said that.
Yes.
I usually like post-apocalyptic movies or like people trying to restart society. Or I like how he had to give him, feelings of things like that humans take for granted every day.
Yeah.
We take for granted things of pain or happiness or sadness when those people couldn't feel any of that or see in color or. So I love the story and him going through emotions and finding out new things of just being human.
Rico just went ahead and just restored my faith because I got so scared because I'm like, bro, I feel like I was the last generation that read The Giver. like
Almost.
What's your age?
I'm 28.
28. Yeah.
I'm 21, and I love that book. I have that book at my house.
Oh, it's phenomenal. And they've taken it out of school since, but I really think they should bring it back.
Have you noticed they're taking a lot of literature out?
Everybody's so offended by everything.
Yeah,
I mean,
we gotta
I love social commentary. Like, and books have been written in the time period that they're written in. So of course we can say, they were racist or whatever, but that's where the time period they wrote it in.
There you go.
So now, if we wrote books now, in 30 years they'll be like, oh, these people just did not care about whatever new has been created.
Right.
Like new standard has been created. So they're not trying to offend you. Some people are, but they're not intending to offend you, but they're writing to an audience.
Correct.
So you got to understand that sometimes.
Caroline, you have a Band-Aid.
And sometimes it's like, we can't censor everything. You have to just be able to take literature and be like, that's what it was.
You can't take it that it's going against you.
There you go.
Yeah, it's just the weight of the world at the time. We understand that. Music's the same way.
I'm actually torn on this.
Go ahead.
Right?
Go ahead.
And this is coming from me writing. If somebody were to come back and be like, I demand that Josh changes how he described Tina.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? Like, I didn't like that he said she was thick. Right? Thick is an offensive word now.
Okay.
I want it removed. So I'm torn on this because in 30 years, thick could be considered a word.
And then
right?
you're gonna have to apologize.
Well, I'm never going to apologize.
I don't want to.
But I don't apologize for anything.
But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I now, if they want to remove the word, so this is where I'm torn. Right now, we all use thick, like that girl thick, right? Even
right.
girls will use it back, like, I'm thick, stuff like that, right?
Right.
And we're totally fine with that word. 30 years from now, that could be just completely something different. I would much rather somebody pick up my book when they're 18, when they're 18 years old, and they read it. I'd rather them have a better picture of me than being like, I can't believe you used the word thick.
There you go.
Right. So Samuel Clemens, or I'm sorry, I know him as Samuel Clemens. What do you guys know him as? He wrote Tom.
That's all I know is Sammy Clemens. So.
Yeah.
All right. So Samuel Clemens. He wrote a series of books where he uses Jim. Right. I'm torn on this. He is one of the fathers of literature. Mm-hmm. To remove that takes away from the historical accuracy.
Yeah.
At the same time, is it necessary to have inside of the book?
No.
Why not? Why couldn't you just be called Jim?
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm torn. I really feel like in 30 years, I would rather have somebody come in and be like, the word thick is offensive, we're gonna move it and call her gifted.
Right.
Something.
Right.
I get it. I don't like the idea of editing because that's what Hitler did, and I think that's where we get that idea from.
There's a certain level of sensitivity that we have to have as a community. However, like you said, it's just you have to remember the connotation and the region and the time in which everything was written. Now, I can't sit here and condone how they were talking about what do you say, Jim?
Yeah, Jim.
Right. You like there's certain
As Family Guy says, N-word Jim.
Right.
Thank you,
Exactly.
N-word Jim.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, but like you said, like there are certain aspects of time that you have to acknowledge as for yourself as being derogative or as being a part of a culture.
Yeah.
And so, if you can accept that into your mind, because what's the word? Not sensitivity, but censorship. There's a certain level of censorship that we have to have when it comes to literature that we have to accept as being like, okay, let's go ahead and realize the time period in which these things were published versus, okay, they were just being completely wrong. Because at the time that Huckleberry Finn was... Right.
They had different wives, multiple wives.
Yeah.
Right. You have to understand...
For me, it paints the picture of like what was going on at the time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
And that wasn't even at his time frame. He was writing for a period before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now you understand.
He was commenting on the racism.
Exactly. It's a social commentary. So now you understand a little bit better, and now you can make a change based off that. If you censor everything, and then these kids are coming up nowadays, they won't understand how people feel anymore. They'll just be like,
Well, they won't understand the commonplace of that word. They won't understand that back then. That was like using the word banana.
yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
it was so common.
Right.
You know.
And again, when it comes to history, I really, for all of those 285 Live fans and Josh's fans, please, if you are young, if you're just going to college, if you decide to go into college, regardless of your age, I highly recommend. This is me personally. I highly recommend you take an anthropology class.
Yeah, if you're 3 years old. No, go ahead.
Shut up. But I highly recommend you take an anthropology class because it sets the tone for everything else that comes afterwards. You're talking about culture, you're talking about tradition, you're talking about customs, things of that nature to the point where it helps you understand where the mindset was. Because like you said, we're talking about Jim. Everybody thought those who were of I'm gonna put it politically correct. Those who were of a lighter skin tone, right?
You mean white people?
Like Drake?
There you go.
Oh, my bad.
So I said how to be politically correct.
Yeah, I got you.
But
You are gonna offend me. I'm pretty white.
but
I don't know if you guys noticed, he is white.
I mean, I'm a little tan. You know.
I mean, he drinks sweet tea, it's just unsweetened. So it's just, but those of that time, to them, it was like you said, it was the word banana. It was just like, oh yeah, that's Banana Jim. You know what I mean? But now,
It's a great book.
thank you.
I'm sorry.
But but now we understand and acknowledge the past, the negative connotation that comes about with it. Because you gotta remember your history. There's a lot of stuff. Pay attention in school. Please do. Pay attention in school. So there's a lot of things that go along with the wording, the diction, the setup, the writing scheme that sets up these stories, or whether it be fiction, nonfiction, history, whatever, to the point where it's like, okay, I understand where these folks are coming from. I know where I'm at now. I'm not going to use it.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, burn all the Huckleberry Finn books.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't do that because at this point in time, it is history.
Right.
It's
Mein
history.
Kampf. Mein Kampf by Hitler.
Yeah.
They haven't edited it. And the reason is because they want people to know where this hate came from.
Right.
So why are we changing it
Right.
in anything if you're not
Right.
going to change Mein Kampf?
Right.
I mean, guys, Mein Kampf.
Thank you.
If you don't learn history, it's bound to repeat itself. So
Right.
everybody trying to cancel everything out, it's bound to repeat itself.
Do y'all not hear the words that just came out of Rico's mouth?
Yeah, he's got a lot of wisdom.
This man
He's
is
very wise.
he is a 21-year-old black male in the state of Georgia the belt line. The belt line. Understanding his history, understanding where he's at now, acknowledging said history, and learning from other levels of ignorance.
Absolutely.
So that's where we're coming from when it comes to this literature. We can enjoy it.
Yeah.
We can understand it. We can acknowledge it and move forward. That is the definition of
And
progression.
just learn to not take everything so personal. 'Cause
Yeah.
people have different cultures, you know.
Yeah.
And some cultures, and it's disrespectful to shake someone's hand and look them in the eye. And some cultures, it's disrespectful to cross your legs going their way. You
Yeah.
know,
Correct.
Those are things where you can get potentially beheaded for.
Thank
So,
you.
know, it's good to learn everyone's culture and not take everything so personal.
And that's something
just how
that
people-
we want to do with 285 Live. We want to connect everybody.
Everybody.
So we are, again, with the interest of time, we're not trying to have him on colored people time. I'm sorry. I'm not PC. So I say these things off my mind. But I do want to get him to the airport on time. We are about to wrap up our segments and stuff like that. We want to get to some of the questions for Josh's people too as well. Any final words for 285 Live before we get back to your content?
I would continue down where you guys are going. Don't be afraid to make these social commentaries.
Thank you.
Never edit yourself.
Yeah.
Your voice is your voice.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Much appreciated.
I just thank him for coming out here again.
Absolutely.
If you need to hear the backstory, I didn't get the backstory for you guys, but it'll be uploaded. So, but live, I need to tell y'all, this is a special person to me. You know, I've never been the type of person to just be like judging you based off your skin color, your religion, your sexual orientation. If you're a good person with good vibes, I'd love to hang out with you. You know, I love to see what you like to do. I can push my stuff on him all the time or whatever, but he came to us from Dayton.
Absolutely.
He flew here, spent the weekend with us, and showed us his world.
Yes.
Inside of our world.
Yes.
Which is great. So I appreciate you, Josh, for coming. You're welcome to come again.
Please do.
That's
Please,
your
definitely.
room. I tell everybody that's their room. So if y'all fighting over the room.
You mean other people share my room?
It's
Man.
Lysol. They Lysol it.
Yeah, our cousin.
The way it's been decorated.
Yeah, our cousin.
I was hoping you would install my name
Our
above the
cousin
doors.
Erica. Our cousin Erica's gonna be mad because I told her that was her room, and she was like, she took that to heart.
You had fresh sheets, everything clean, new.
Yeah.
The holographic Tupac will
You
come
did
out.
it better
Yeah.
than my little brother. He stayed with us for a month. I gave
Well,
him like just a regular.
He's not
suit.
dead, so.
SirGarrett, final words.
Oh no, you know me. I always like to stay at the end, but go ahead, Rico.
Yeah, say the best words.
I think y'all for having me. I think y'all for having these chips. I mean, y'all can probably see the last 45 minutes. I've been like, I tore a hole in this.
Shout out to Lay's. We wanna Lay's sponsorship.
And tortillas. What's
Tostitos.
Tostitos. That's it.
And being from Dayton, I'd like Mike Sells. Thank you.
I'm glad all the guys. I'm glad we had our guests here today. It was great meeting you. You have a great mindset, and I'm always interested in learning new things and discovering different demographics and different cultures. We're open to that thing on 285, just like internationally or around 285. We're into it.
Absolutely. Maddogg, give me something.
I just gave you something.
Give me some more.
Oh, you don't want me to talk about Josh anymore?
No.
Okay. That's all that's been on my mind is Josh. So, it's been a great weekend. I've learned a lot. We have a good setup that we will be taking from you. We'll be appropriating. I always say we appropriate stuff. We don't steal it.
Learned a lot.
We learned so much. This setup.
Spain did that too.
Yeah. Again, history repeating itself is in a different color. But y'all, I'm gonna get us banned from the internet. But y'all, I love y'all. I love the questions. I love the people from Wisconsin, Florida, the West Coast. I've seen people from Belgium watching our podcast.
Oh wow.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Send us your beer.
Yeah, exactly. I love beer.
Love beer.
I've seen people from Germany, France,
Yep.
watching our podcast, downloading our podcast.
Yes.
So, parlez-vous français? That's all I know in French. And I'll pass the buck back to SirGarrett.
So, I'm gonna go ahead and close it out like this. Josh, I'm very happy that you're here. I learned a lot. I'm always willing to learn, like what Rico said, and it's just very, very cool to have a different perspective, and in terms of creativity, in terms of creation, and I love it Appreciate you being here, man.
Thanks for having me.
Outside of this podcast, man, please come back so we can hang out some more, man.
And let's go up there too today.
Yeah, I would love for
definitely
you guys to do an investigation up there with me.
Oh my gosh, I would love to.
Yeah.
I have my Glock out, but
We're gonna do
We got ghost things up there and everything.
okay, I'm with it,
bring
and
the holy water with the
we're gonna have the holy water too. So
And,
I'm gonna go
and
ahead.
maybe a cruise.
Maybe a cruise.
Maybe.
So I'm gonna go ahead and close it out like this because I've been told by one of my fans. I love to close it out like this. 285 Live, like we said, we are a part of different spots of the city. We are going international now. We're going national now. Go ahead. We are a part of different sections of Atlanta and different sections of the United States. If you want to go ahead and come down to Atlanta, please take 285. Listen to us at the same time. Go ahead, put your seatbelts
You're gonna be
on.
stuck for a while. So.
Don't
It
come around
will.
5 o'clock.
Don't come around 5. Traffic's terrible. But go ahead, put your seatbelts on, use your blinkers, get off your exit, and if you miss it, spin again. We'll be right back.
Yeah.
285 Live, we are out. We love y'all. We will see y'all again. Episode 6 coming soon.
know?
We are out. 285 Live is out. Peace.